try and understand who I was.
Taken from her mother and raised in a lab.
To see if I was the monster.
She has no experience with friendship.
Friend?
We see more and more this stepping into, I'm going to assert what is right for me.
It is not me. It is you. You are the monster.
I'm on board with Mike and Elle happily ever after, but I'm not dissatisfied with this, and here's why. Hello, and welcome to Cinema Therapy. I'm Jonathan Decker, licensed therapist who loves movies. This is
Alan Seawright, a professional filmmaker who needs lots of therapy.
Today we're going to be looking at a pop culture icon, Psychology of a Hero on 11 from Stranger Things. We're going to take a look at being caught in abuse patterns and feeling weak and inconfident to growing into confidence, power, and connection, healthy connection.
She does all those things.
Trauma healing!
You're good at this.
Thank you.
Yeah. It was really fun rewatching season 1 to get ready for all of these Stranger Things episodes we're doing, because I had forgotten how jank some of the visual effects are in season 1, because they had about 20 minutes of the budget of season 5 for all of season 1.
I don't know. I thought that was pretty good.
It was fine. It's fine. It's just...
Oh,
here she comes.
To be that young and to master that look so well.
Millie Bobby Brown is a unique talent.
She broke my arm! My arm!
Go.
Dustin's all happy about it.
Let's go! Go! Yeah, that's right! You better run! She's our friend and she's crazy! She'll kill you! You hear me? She'll kill you, you sons of bitch! She'll kill you, you hear me?
So Elle we see early on in the show where she comes from, and then of course throughout the series we get more and more of the backstory. But the fact is, taken from her mother,
right,
and raised in a lab, and raised in a very abusive relationship where Papa, they say if the person who torments you and comforts you is the same person, that is the very definition of an abusive relationship, and the whole thing is conditioning.
Yeah.
And he later says, I cared about you, I did all this for you, and she's like, bullcrap. I do think Papa believes his own lies.
Oh, in his mind, he thinks that's what caring is, but that's because he's a horrible person.
Yeah, which we will get more to. But for 11, once she escapes, she has no experience with friendship to the point where she goes friends, like she doesn't even know the word.
Yeah.
But we see this strong protective instinct. I think it comes in part from, this is the first time I've had a healthy connection, and I'll be damned if I let anybody harm it.
Yeah, exactly.
But also, she's got great empathy and compassion from her suffering that she's going to protect others.
You know, 11 is feeling a lot of pressure, what with carrying all of her past trauma and all of the responsibilities she has.
Definitely. She often feels like she has to handle it all herself.
Which honestly feels pretty relatable.
You've never had to save the world with telekinetic powers.
No, but I do feel overwhelmed by the pressures of life, and I have to do it all myself.
Oh yeah, super relatable. I'm a therapist, I'm a father, I'm a business partner. There's a lot of people counting on me to meet their needs. And honestly, it's overwhelming. Adulting is hard.
But you can always start fresh and get help to handle whatever it is you're facing.
I know, listen, I help other people, but I also need help, and getting therapy has been a source of support for me.
Same. Therapy can help you feel lighter and live with more clarity and self-compassion.
Today's sponsor, BetterHelp, can help you start therapy with confidence.
They'll help you find a therapist that matches your goals, preferences, and needs.
And if the match isn't quite right, you can switch therapists at any time for any reason at no additional cost.
And 72% of BetterHelp clients report a reduction in symptoms within 12 weeks, showing that professional support can actually make a difference, which is, I'm sure, good news for you.
Click the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/cinematherapy to get 10% off your first month.
And let BetterHelp support you in feeling lighter in 2026.
Goodbye, Mike.
And there's character growth, and then there's character traits. And a trait of Elle that we see that's a through line through the entire series is that she will always put the safety of the people she loves before herself.
Yeah.
No more.
You laughing at the little sound effect, like,
Well, the little whimper from the Demogorgon, but also just the badassness. Like, how you get an 11-year-old girl to play that So strong.
The really sad and hard thing about Eleven's story is it's a story of suffering. And watching the show, you want her to be happy. You want her to end up with her friends. You want her to escape the hell of the lab and the hell of the Upside Down and all of this and just have a normal life.
I love what this scene is about visually, right? The Demogorgon is mirroring what she's doing. She's reaching out to like push it back, and it's sort of, you know, splayed up against the wall, but then it starts reaching forward. Their movements are mirrored. And this is coming on the heels of her saying that she's the monster.
Yeah.
And then realizing that she's not.
Well, and she's screaming as the monster's roaring,
Yeah.
right? The thing that makes her not the monster is intent.
Right.
Because when it comes to destructive power,
Hers is much greater.
but the intent is protective, it's not destructive.
Right.
We all have skills, abilities, powers, things that we can do. We're capable of great harm and great healing. So where do we focus our energy? Where do we focus our strength? Where do we focus our gifts, so to speak, determines who and what we are, not what we're capable of. 11 could be an immense destructive force. In fact, that's exactly what they were grooming her to be.
Right.
And she chooses to be something else. And that is a choice she makes in the first season. As soon as she starts associating with the party, she learns a different way of being. And she sees a way that she wants to direct her life.
All right, knock it off. Let go.
So something about this fight.
Okay.
This is an ugly fight, and it's going to escalate even more.
For sure.
But Ella's having it not only because she feels more powerful, but because she feels safe with Hopper. Hopper's not Papa. He may get mad. He may yell.
He's not going to drug her and knock her out or put her in a cell.
Or use her, and she knows that he actually does care enough to protect her, even though she hates being stuck in this little cabin
You
prison.
have got to understand that there are consequences to your actions.
You are like Papa!
Really? I'm like that psychotic son of a. Oh, all right.
And now she's just lashing out to hurt him because she knows that's not true.
One phone call, I can make that happen.
I hate you!
Yeah, well, I'm not so crazy about you either. You know why? Because you're a brat. You know what that word means? How about that be your word for the day, huh? Brat. Why don't we look it up? B-R-A-T. Brat.
Like,
Hey!
Hopper's poking the bear here. He's used to being the bear, but she could absolutely annihilate him.
Hey! 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 Open this door! Open the damn door! You want to go out in the world? You better grow up! Grow the hell up!
We all have moments in our arguments where we realize, yeah, this went way too far.
Yeah. Ugh.
Such a powerfully acted scene.
The sort of thing that you think about is like, oh, actors, all they have to do is play make-believe and they get paid millions of dollars. A, most actors don't. And
Yeah.
B, you have to play make-believe and have huge, giant emotions in front of 80 people.
Over and over.
Over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And she throws a tantrum and starts flinging things around the room. Millie Bobby Brown does not have telekinetic powers. That is like carefully timed out and choreographed. There's probably somebody just off camera shouting, 1, 2, 3, for like special effects technicians to like pull the bookcase down and slam the door closed, because that's all wires and stuff that's pulling everything.
Yeah.
She has to completely ignore all of that and deliver this.
Yeah.
It is insane.
In this fight, we see, as in most fights, people start to villainize each other because it's about how you're making me feel.
Right.
When she says, you are like Papa, she's not saying that from a logical space. She's gotten months and months of personal experience that he's not like Papa.
Yeah.
He's not trying to exploit her. He's not trying to push her. He wants her to be happy and he wants to keep her safe, but she still feels imprisoned, and she doesn't like that he, at the end of the day, is saying, here's what you can and cannot do. And in that sense, he is like Papa. But he hears that and goes, really? I'm like that psychotic son of a bitch? And to him, it's a deep insult because, as he says, I protect, I provide, and I teach.
Well, and Hopper's also super emotionally flooded. He is terrified because he knows what will happen. She doesn't truly understand. I mean, she knows maybe she'll go back to Papa.
Yeah.
But she doesn't understand the way Hopper does what the government's going to do to her, to him, to life.
Right.
Hopper's also pretty emotionally immature. Like, we know this about him from the whole show.
Right.
We discuss a lot more of this. We actually have an episode about Stranger Things and masculinity. You can watch it right here. We talk a lot about Hopper and all the other boys in the show.
I think 11 unloads as much as she does for two reasons. The first is that this is obviously bringing up past trauma of being contained and told what she could and couldn't do. But the second is how he's different from Papa. She would never do this with Papa because the punishments would be severe. What's the punishment with Hopper? That he's going to yell, right? Not great, but she's had so much worse, and he has shown outside of these moments so much genuine regard and affection for her and desire to honor her freedom within, at least within the cabin, right?
And ability to purchase Egos.
And if Papa never got Egos, then she does feel safe, and there's something to be said for when you finally feel safe, a lot of what you've pent up inside can come out in ugly ways because you weren't allowed to do it before.
Right.
What's wrong with you? You know she's not allowed to be here.
What is she, your little pet? Yeah. Am I your pet?
No!
Why do you treat me like garbage?
What?
You said Nana was sick.
She is. She is. She is sick.
Yeah,
she's sick.
She's sick. She's super sick.
Max!
We're here, actually. Yeah, we're shopping.
Max
not
looking
for
at
us,
Lucas
but
like, really?
For her, for Nana.
Really?
For Nana.
Also, we're here to get a gift for you. We couldn't find anything that suited you, and I only have like $3.50, so
Mike.
it's hard. Super hard.
Don't lie, Mike.
It's expensive.
You lie. Why do you lie?
This is one of my favorite parts of the show.
I mean, it's hilarious, but also, I love that Elle's growing up.
I dump your ass.
And I love that the way we see Elle growing up is like the least mature possible way to do it.
Elle's friendship with Max is a huge turning point, both for her as a character and also for Max, which we have an entire episode on Max that you could check out right here.
Yeah.
But Elle, she's attached to Hopper, and she's attached to Mike, and now she's romantically attached to Mike, and she's got all these new feelings, but what she's never really had, ever, is a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Right? She's never had someone of her gender who understands what she's going through and to
They
teach
can
her.
take her to the mall and shop for some sick new fits.
It says that there's more to life than stupid boys, which honestly, I was watching this with my kids and I paused that and I looked at my daughters. I'm like, you heard that, right? You heard Max say that.
Max is correct.
Max is correct.
Listen to Max.
There's more to life than stupid boys. So Elle, having the integrity and the backbone to say, this is how I will and won't be treated. Yes, I love Mike. I want to be with Mike, but I don't want to be lied to. I don't want to be mistreated. And instead of saying, oh, well, maybe he'll come around if I'm nice to him. Maybe he'll come around if I am understanding. It's like, no, if you're going to treat me this way, I dump your ass. Her whole upbringing, she had to be compliant. She had to be submissive. And the few times that she dared try assert herself or stand up for herself or say, no, I won't do this, they threw her in the brig, basically, right?
Yeah.
Or would punish her in ways that were cruel and heartbreaking, and Papa would withhold love. I mean, the whole thing with Papa is conditional love. It's not actually love, but conditional love so that to steer her in the direction he wants to steer her, right? If you do what I want you to do, I will be proud of you. I will be warm and kind to you. If you don't do what I want you to do, you will be rejected, you will be punished, and I will withhold love from you. The thing about Hopper is Hopper can be an ass. He can be a pig-headed ass, but Hopper doesn't withhold love.
No.
For Elle, we see both with her fight with Hopper and dumping Mike, more and more this stepping into, I'm going to assert what is right for me, and I'm going to draw healthy boundaries. And what I love is that doesn't just come from nowhere. In this case, she learns it from Max because Max is really good at doing this with Lucas.
Yeah, we're shopping, not for us, but for her, for Nana.
For Nana.
Ricky, when I catch you, Ricky.
The gate. The mind flare. So many dead.
Oh,
Because
gosh.
of you. Because you
yeah,
could not
wow.
stop. You could not let him go. I came here to try and understand who I was. To see if I was the monster. Now I know the truth. It is not me. It is you.
I like that she makes him cry.
You
Yeah.
are the monster.
You brought up earlier in this episode Elle questioning whether she's the monster, going face to face with the Demogorgon. They're reaching out for each other. She's screaming, it's roaring.
I mean, that's kind of a big chunk of her through line this whole time.
That's what I was going to say. It's not bad writing because it wasn't tied up in a neat little bow at the end of the first season. Like,
Right.
It was resolved to her satisfaction enough that she could bury it and even think that she had let it go. But when enough things happen, especially like smashing the roller skate into that girl's
She
face.
keeps doing monstrous things. Outside of the smashing the roller skate into the thing, like, she has powers that no other person has.
Yeah.
And she, sure, is using them for good most of the time.
I actually really like that this insecurity keeps resurfacing because that's reality. We think we work through something and we're in a great place, and then stuff happens and it turns out it was still there.
Well, and this is such a teenage thing. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
if this ever happened to you. Definitely, it probably didn't for you. You always seem very self-assured. It definitely happened for me where I, for a long time, thought I was a terrible person. Like, this was something I had to deal with in therapy in my 30s.
Yeah.
But it started as a teenager because I made choices that didn't align with my values.
Yeah.
And I knew what my values were, and I knew what my choices were, and I still made the other choices. And I was like, well, guess I'm a monster.
Dang.
And I just internalized it.
Yeah.
And so many of us do. Like, it's such a normal thing. She just can blow open silo doors with her brain.
Well, this reminds me of the struggle with the Mind Flayer. The Mind Flayer keeps coming back until it's finally defeated. It's a lot like our insecurities.
Yeah.
You generally have to battle them over and over and over, and sometimes you actually do finally put them to rest. This is the ultimate culmination of, I mean, it starts with Hopper and then it continues with Mike, but now she's standing up to a person who actually is malicious and the person who actually did her the most harm.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's really hard in season 4 watching him start to get his meat hooks back into her.
Sure.
Because he is so good at it, and then, you know, the plot requires it, and she's resisting it but also like has to go along with it. And so for her to finally say, no, it is you, the moment he starts trying to gaslight her and she sees right through it. I love seeing this in real life when people who have been walked on and manipulated and tricked and used, not only are they saying no more, but they actually have the strength to follow through and the insight to see through it when people try it.
Even in death is trying to at least gain absolution. Maybe not try to get her back on his side, but he's trying to have her forgive him. And she's just like, no.
It's a beautifully played moment. There is emotion and she says, goodbye, Papa.
Yeah.
But she's not going to go that far to
Right.
give him what he's asking for, because it would be a lie and he doesn't deserve it.
You took me in. Raised me. Protected me. I don't want to touch on it too much. I know these two had some behind the scenes stuff to work out, but their on screen, the work they do together is phenomenal.
It's really, really good.
But I'm not a kid anymore. And I'm not Sarah.
Perfectly timed red lightning.
She didn't have a choice to make. But I do. And I need you to trust me to make the right choice. I need you to believe in me.
Great
writing often transcends just what's going on with the characters and speaks to all of us, right?
Yeah.
And for once, Murray's quiet. Even Murray knows.
Even Murray knows to shut up.
Because I think about parenting and how hard it is to let go and how hard it is to let your kids make mistakes when you feel like you've got the benefit of years and experience and you're like, I want to prevent you or keep you from this type of suffering.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're wrong. Sometimes the child who's turning into adult isn't making a stupid mistake. They're making a very weighted choice.
And listen,
where they've thought it through.
Sometimes it's going to be a choice that you disagree with.
Yeah.
And this is any relationship, right? Like
Yeah.
any relationship, you're going to have weighty moments. A long enough relationship and a deep enough relationship. It can be, you know, a romantic one, a business relationship, a friendship, whatever. You're going to have deep, complicated decisions to make, and you're going to disagree. Elle in this moment understands probably better than Hopper, even. She diagnoses not just, you're worried about me, but this is still about Sarah.
Yeah.
The daughter that he lost.
This is still about you not wanting to suffer that type of loss again. And you don't have to. Like, even if I make this choice and I sacrifice myself for everybody else, this is not someone being taken away from you. This is someone making a choice out of love for everyone else. And I adore this notion, what you just brought up, of you don't have to agree with him. Hopper still doesn't agree with Elle. This isn't what he wants.
Yeah.
But her point of I'm not a child anymore, and it's not a I'm not a child anymore, you can't tell me what to do. It's you raised me to adulthood. Mm-hmm. You raised me to make ethical, compassionate choices of integrity.
And Hopper constantly is sacrificing himself. He can't go 20 minutes without jumping into a Russian turbine or going into the upside down. Like, dude,
yeah,
just deal with it, buddy.
Yeah.
You've tried to abandon me like 30 times already.
That's a really good point.
And she doesn't throw it in his face, and she totally could have, and it would have been funny.
But just this notion that it's her choice to make and that he steps back and he honors it is really beautiful, and something that parents in healthy parent-child relationships, you do that once they become adults.
And she's approaching this in a very mature way, too. She's asking him to trust her. And what's great about the writing is she's asking him to trust her because she expects that she'll get that from Hopper. And by this point in the story, I mean, it's been a year since he died, but she knows she was never going to get that from Papa.
Yeah.
And she has, like, fully accepted that's not the parent that I deserve. The parent that I deserve is the version of Hopper that I'm asking him to be.
Early on, she displayed both anxious and avoidant attachment styles. Sometimes she was very independent and didn't want to, like, connect with or rely on people. And other times it was very much, what do I need to do to please people so they won't leave me? And she was insecurely attached, understandably. Mm-hmm. We see her now in a place of full secure attachment. She is moved from the fear of the trauma and the abuse to a place where she is confident and she's powerful and she's securely attached. Yeah. The way she plays this scene is not afraid or unsure. It is with the utter confidence of, I am loved and I love and I know what choice I'm going to make.
You've seen me.
Well, my name's Mike. Short for Michael. Maybe we can call you Elle.
Also, it's Purple Rain. Come on.
It is Purple Rain, which is why we have to commentate over it.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to get a copyright strike.
Me.
I never meant to call you.
He was her first secure attachment. And that's healing. Like, as sweet and puppy love, romantic, you know, teenage romance as this is, what it is even more than that is this.
I love you for exactly who you are.
Which is not how most teenagers operate.
No, but Mike's the storyteller. Come on.
Please don't leave me out.
Please don't do this.
I will always be with you. I love you.
It's such a good choice to go with Prince.
It kind of out of left field, honestly.
Yeah, it was, but it fits.
Like, when it started playing, I was like, seriously?
And then you get to it and you're like, oh no.
And it completely recontextualized the song for me. Because, like, you know, it's not, like, the most upbeat song ever, but I don't, like, instantly cry every time I hear that song. Until now,
Yeah,
damn it.
Now you will. Now, I know a lot of fans were upset by this because they wanted a happily ever after together between Mike and Elle.
And that's where I'm different from most fans. I wanted half the party to die.
You did.
I did. Not because I wanted them to die. I loved all the characters, but I just wanted some stakes, baby.
I'm on board with Mike and Elle happily ever after. I think that would have been very satisfying. But I'm not unhappy or dissatisfied with this, and here's why. And I've seen people critique, and I think there's validity to this. Why can't we let powerful female characters just be happy? Why do they have to die?
She is happy. She gets to go to her town with 3 waterfalls.
Well, okay, so we'll talk about that in a second. But the reason I like this is because it is a choice.
Yes.
She's not killed.
No.
It's not a tragic, like, out of left field, like, Elle gets killed and taken from everybody. This is a empowered, deliberate choice.
To save the world.
To save the world, and more personally, to save her friends.
Yes.
That will never not be beautiful to me.
Yeah.
It is one of my favorite pop culture, like, trauma healing arcs. Honestly, right up there with Max. But this show is full of trauma healing arcs. We've got a Patreon exclusive episode exploring that very subject. You can watch right here.
It's super long, because weirdly, there's a lot of trauma to talk about in this show.
Yep.
Obviously, we've released a couple episodes about Stranger Things. We absolutely adore this show, and I think we have ideas for at least a dozen more episodes. Let us know what you want us to talk about in the comments below. Characters, situations, demo dogs. Mm-hmm. Do they eat demo kibble? Let us know.
I'm also happy that the Duffer Brothers put in the work to have it make sense in the plot. Like, if she stays, then Linda Hamilton and all those people are going to keep trying to take her blood to make more, to basically make more Vecnas, honestly.
Right,
like, that's the risk, and she's not willing to take that risk. So at least it makes sense.
Well, I mean, best case scenario, you end up with an army of sort of telekinetic super soldiers who are, you know, escalating a war with the Soviets. Like, there's no good outcome there.
Yeah, there's not. Here's the thing. Do you think Elle is still alive? Mike makes a convincing argument, and it's definitely a convincing argument emotionally everyone wants to believe.
Yeah.
But do you think logically, narratively, she's still alive? Why, yes or no?
Logically, narratively, I believe that she is. I'm not sure that Mike's story, which is compelling and fun.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that that's exactly what it is, but it doesn't make sense that she disappeared from where she was with the speakers aimed at her.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. It bumped me when we were watching the scene. I'm like, wait, how did she get away from the speakers? And I was like, okay, fine.
Those sound vibration machines,
and
she shouldn't be able to use her powers.
She shouldn't be able to, like, move.
Yeah.
Like, when they're pointing that much at her, she can barely function. Like, she basically collapses on the ground. It's like, okay, she shouldn't have been able to do that. And so when we get to the graduation and Mike hears the speaker feedback and then flashes to the thing, I was like, oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't forget. Good.
Yeah. And again, I'm with you. I think Mike had that evidence, and then he's a storyteller, so he made up a story to fill in the gaps. That's the most logical story that he could come up with, which may be what happened.
And to Mike's credit, he has spent the entire show making up stories about what's going on and naming things, and he's pretty much always right.
Yeah. So I think 11 is still alive, and I don't need an extra bonus surprise series finale to prove it. So
listen, it is difficult for me to imagine something that is more emotionally satisfying for the characters than what we got.
Yeah.
And it's my job to imagine that kind of thing. Maybe I'm not very good at it, but it was deeply satisfying. We got so much wonderful wrap-up.
So what did you think of the series finale and 11's story overall? Let us know in the comments below. So until next time,
I believe
I dumped your ass.
And
special shout out to our patrons over on Patreon who get special commercial-free director's cuts.
Natalie Uman,
Shelly Bean,
Abby G. Pipes,
Cheryl Vogel,
and Abalab.
Thank you, patrons. We love you. And if you're not a Patreon patron yet for us, today's the day.